Who was every day going out like, today I'm going to meet my husband. But also someone probably went out and said, today I'm going to meet my husband. And then they did.
Yeah. It'll happen when you stop looking, but I want to look. Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back.
I see you pulled it up.
72 degrees. It feels nice out. If there's a 7 in front of it, or 6.
That's what I said the other day.
Followed by a 9.
So many 7s this week.
So many 7s this week.
Guys, also, we have been in the studio
Speaking
for
of 2 7s.
6 hours. We have been here. It's after 4:30 and we're starting to record. You know that I don't like to record after my bedtime.
I know.
It's like sleepy time
We've
now.
had a lot going on. Listen, big things popping.
Guys,
we haven't even talked about this.
Huge things coming
We are
up.
really doing big things. That's all I'm going to say. We've been working on a whole new thing. We haven't talked about it. We're not going to talk about it, but I'm just letting you guys know it's coming. It's huge.
Working on something huge. And it's not just like a new influencer partnership.
No. Right. It's not just like a collab.
We don't have like our own flavor of Sugar Bear hair care.
It's a huge fucking deal. And that's all I'm going to say. And I can't wait.
Yeah, we're going to tease it every week until the end of time.
With no details.
I started saying this last week, but this is actually it. It's last call for tickets for this tour of shows. If you guys have never been to a Girls Gotta Eat show, it is nothing like your normal comedy show. It is a wild ass, over the top girls' night. Bring your friends. If you are in Raleigh, well, we don't tickets anymore for that. Charlotte, Charleston, or Atlanta, we have so many fun shows lined up for you guys in the best cities. We are so excited. Please come out. Tickets, girlsgotteatpodcast.com.
Get them. Just get them.
Just get them. And then also, if you guys didn't see Boston, we added a third show. You got to come. Ashley and I will break up if you don't come. She'll be so mad at me. So third show, Friday, October 29th, 9:45 at the Wilbur Theater. It's a holiday weekend. Somebody emailed us and said her sister's coming to visit for Halloween because it's a holiday weekend.
Oh.
In Boston.
Cannot.
All the other tickets. Austin is coming up in a few weeks as well. You guys can get tickets to the General Moon Tower Comedy Festival. You can get a badge on their website, but you buy individual tickets to our show on our website. There's 2 shows, Paramount Theater. We'll see you guys there. Come down to Austin. We love it there. We can't wait.
Okay, and I'm going to get into the not as fun stuff, and those are COVID restrictions. Restrictions? Requirements. Yes, requirements.
Yeah, sure.
Not restrictions, but well, sort of. Well, anyway, so we for our shows, we will announce this as they happen, but for the upcoming shows in Charlotte, Atlanta, and Charleston, you will need to present proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test within the prior 72 hours. This is on the Ticketmaster site. It's on our site. Rapid test is fine. Someone asked. Just like proof that you have been vaxxed or you're COVID free. This was actually Charleston Music Hall's, their requirement. And we were like, well, that should be the requirement for the venues. We want to keep people as safe as possible. We know nothing is 100%. You could roll up in their vaxxed, could have had a breakthrough case. You know, you could have a negative test and gotten COVID on the way to the show. Like, we know that there is nothing that's 100% with this virus, but we want to try to be as safe as we are. You guys know we're team vax, obviously. So Raleigh, masks are going to be required for entry. They have a mask mandate. We're not certain what's exactly being enforced inside the venue, but bring your mask no matter what. Bring your mask no matter what, anywhere, probably. I don't think a lot of the venues are going to be mask on through the show, but again, this stuff changes all the time. Yeah. Honestly, my take on it is like, we're just lucky to be able to do it. We're lucky to be able to do it at a full capacity. So that's where I stand. Like, we'll do whatever. You know what I mean? If we have to look out to a bunch of people in masks, like, as long as we're out, we're having fun, we're going to be laughing. Hopefully that's not the case, but we do want you guys vaxxed or COVID free. And if you need to get a refund, you can contact your point of purchase, but hopefully it won't be a big deal. And I don't really know many places that you can't get test results back within 72 hours. So, I mean, there's COVID testing in the airport, right? I saw it at Pittsburgh Airport. Actually, I Googled it. Whatever. There's one right by the Atlanta airport. I mean, there's tons of places. And rapid tests are fine, guys. So it shouldn't be an issue in those cities, as far as I know. If you're having an issue, don't DM us.
Yeah.
Just
all
like,
you get a refund.
You know what I mean?
We would love to see you there, but our priorities are safety and your safety.
Yes. So them's the rules. What else?
Other than that, the show's gonna be fucking wild.
They're gonna be incredible.
We're gonna bring you guys up on stage, do some really crazy shit with you guys on stage.
Oh my God, they're gonna be insane. We have like crazy stuff happening. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
That's okay. No, it's gonna be great. This is your last call to submit story submissions. If you're gonna be there, send us your wildest stories, craziest, funniest dating stories. We always do stories of people in the audience. We're gonna get you up on stage. We're gonna talk about your life decisions, what you've done. So just send those emails to stories@girlsgotteatpodcast.com.
Subject line, name of the city. It's stories@girlsgotteatpodcast.com. Also, guys, you know what? If you have any sexts on your phone, bring them. Have them queued up. They're already on your phone. Just have them at the ready. Mm-hmm. Just have them ready.
I'm not saying I'm going to bring you up on stage, but I might
listen. Rayna might show some of her sex. I might show some of mine.
I might take my tits out.
It's hard to sex is a tough word. Sexy texts. Have a screenshot. Have them favorited. That's all we're gonna say. Just bring them. Just have them ready. Don't need to send them in advance. Just have them at the show.
At the red
nudes. Listen, something crazy somebody said to you.
Nudes.
Bring your own BYO nudes. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have a couple things to talk about.
I was like, what am I going to talk about? Now she's like, I got tons of stuff.
Well, okay. One thing that I thought was so funny. Last week I said I had a maybe potential new crush on a guy that I thought was married. He is married.
So, he is? You found out?
It's whatever.
Okay.
I kind of thought whatever.
Why did we think he wasn't married?
He was wearing a ring, and then I was just confused. It doesn't matter.
Typical.
It's not a big deal. I got plenty of other guys in the stables.
Okay.
But someone messaged and she said, "Was it Dale?" Because everybody was saying
like you can't text Dale.
No, because everybody was saying they got married.
I know.
I thought it was so funny that she was like, "Tell me you're talking about Dale."
Also, but like you could just text Dale and ask him if he was married.
Also, while we're here, we were going to have Dale on the podcast. We even said we were, and we're not. And that is not our decision.
That is actually a story to tell. And I'm not going
to throw shade, but
I am.
We were supposed to do it. And Dale and probably Claire too. We're like, nope. Yeah, maybe one day or not. You know what? You missed your chance.
Now they're dead to us. Okay. You
and
only
married.
Reject us so many times.
Congrats to the happy couple.
Whatever. Well, my update is that I did take Kane home to meet my family.
Yes.
The entire family, like all in one shot. It was more stressful than I thought it was going to be. Overall, wonderful. Had a great time. He gets along with everybody. He met every single family member. We were scheduled for like 4 nights in a row. A lot of drinking for me. He doesn't drink. But yeah. I was surprised at how stressed out I felt because every single interaction you're like, please be nice. Like, don't embarrass me. Not him, my parents.
Yeah.
You know, please don't like do something terrible. And like, I'm just like in my head, like about like my mom, I'm like, can you please just ask him a question about himself? And then you just have to let it go because it's not going to happen. And I just want to make him feel comfortable. And I wanted to be like cognizant of the fact that like you are never alone for 1 second for 4 days. So like Sunday, we just like took some time alone just for the 2 of us. And overall it went really nice. And we went to a bar mitzvah that was sort of like a wedding. It was really over the top. We ate a lot of food and it was fun. It went really well. That's my update, guys. It was really nice.
I'm glad it went well. I like if you're on like some like a vacation and there's like drinking involved, like you just get more tired by the day. You know what I mean? Like when we go to Dewey, like Saturday's amazing, Sunday's amazing, Monday a little more tired, Tuesday even more tired. Like so for you to be kind of like trying to hype this guy, introduce him to everybody while you're kind of also just like probably dealing with a little bit of a hangover. Like I can imagine that you were just probably like exhausted by the end of it.
I was run down. Day 4, I was like, I have drank every single night this week, like hard drinking and the amount of food that I was eating. Yeah. But yeah, I took a day to just to be alone for the 2 of us on Sunday. Like we went to brunch together, went to a museum, we walked around. It's nice to just like not make somebody feel like they have to be with family 24 hours a day. But
did you go to Pamela's?
Yeah, obviously we went to Pamela's. It's my favorite restaurant in the world.
Same.
Mine too. They have like 5 locations in Pittsburgh. It's my favorite restaurant. It's where I worked growing up. It's a diner. But yes, it went well. And now we're back in New York. And that's my update, guys. It was great. He did really well. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. I guess I'm going to go on a date from some guy from Hinge, whatever.
This has been going on all day. You haven't mentioned it to me.
Oh, all right. Here's okay. Yeah. Like he was like, let's go out, whatever. And I gave him my number. So I have to tell you one of the funniest messages that I got from this guy. We're talking about showering outside, whatever. That's on my profile. We're going back and forth. And he goes, I dig your vibe because you are literally holding pizza or pasta in 50% of your photos, which is so like, I just love it's so true. There's 6 photos. 3 have pizza or pasta.
Did you realize that?
So here's the thing. I'm not trying to like post like, oh, look at me. I eat so much. I love food. Like, but I mean, I do, like, a girl's got to eat.
But a show called Girls Gotta Eat. All of our promo photos have food in them.
It's so funny when I look at it because it is just that these happen to be my best photos. Like, maybe I just thrive when there's Italian food in my hands. Like, the picture of the pasta is a HelloFresh photo. I just love, it's a really close up, good shot of my face. My hair is blowing in the wind. I have the pizza photo. I'm holding the pizza boxes and dewy. I just look really carefree and cute. You took it. You were like, nailed it when you took that photo. I have one of me eating the pizza at Lollapalooza with my abs out. Like, it just so happens that there's food in them. If they didn't have food, I wouldn't care. But like, it looks like I'm trying to be like, I love Italian food. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have food in all mine as well. And I think it's just because like a lot of our happiest moments happen with food and we look cute. And so like, I'm not an Instagram influencer. I'm not like posing all cute with a bike and a crop top.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't know how to ride a bike, so I mean, I'm never going to do that. But
I mean, no pedicure pics.
It's just my naked feet.
But I love that he goes, I dig your vibe because you're holding
I dig
pizza
his vibe.
or pasta.
Also, it's just like, that's a funny response. Talk to me like that. Okay, where are you guys going to go? When?
Well, I don't know. Okay. You know what? Let's like work through this. So this guy's just finding out like some things about me. And he said something like, haha, like so many layers to you, outdoor showers and pasta. What else should I know about you? And at this point, I'm like, not much more before we go out and meet in person.
I like a taco and a margarita.
Right. So I basically wrote like 3 things about me. And then, should I read them? Whatever. I wrote.
It's your show.
He said, okay, what else should I know about you? I said, and I set myself up, right? And gave him a little more info. I said, I love margaritas. I'm a 2-time foster dog fail and will never stop laughing at 4 Seasons Total Landscaping. And that's all you get to know via this app.
Okay.
And I was like, shit, is that clear enough? Because you know me, I don't mind saying, let's get a drink. I wasn't trying to be coy, but I said, but you have to tell me 3 things about you now. He wrote a couple things that were pretty funny. And he was like, so what do you think? And I responded, and I'm like, okay, so you got one more chance here. And he wrote one more thing back. And then he was like, shall we discuss our varied interest over drinks, perhaps margaritas? Because I knew he would bring up margaritas. That's why I said I like margaritas. You got to give an opening.
You're killing the game, girl.
Thank you. And I said, I think that sounds like a plan. My number is 3. Just kidding. What if I just said my number on the podcast?
Well, you guys know the first number, so just figure the rest out.
Well, Delaware has 1 area code, so you could have figured out.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, again, like, I don't put too much weight in these. I would rather like meet somebody in the wild, but I got back on Hinge. I'm off it. I'm on it. And then this guy popped up. He looked cute.
He's cute. I
was like, yeah, we'll see. I'm just attracted to like a cool job.
Yeah. I got something to talk to you about.
Right. Well, I'm excited to talk about what he does. I think. What if he's just like boring?
Then you'll never talk to him again. We'll talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. So that started with me just wanting to share that funny message, and it spiraled.
All right. Well, stay tuned, guys. Ashley has a date.
I guess.
Okay, is it rec time? I'm very excited to talk about this with you. I brought up a show and Ashley would not let me continue to talk about it, and I'm not sure why, and I'm very excited to hear why. I was like, have you watched Clickbait on Netflix, which I am 50% of the way through. I am loving it. It is a show with Adrian Grenier. If you guys know what Entourage is, have you or too young to know what that is, but he's an actor. Basically, it's an 8-episode show. He's a father and a husband. He gets kidnapped, and the beginning of the show, he's basically holding up this sign that says, I abuse women, and at 5 million views, I die, basically. So the video goes viral. And then there's 8 episodes, and each episode is sort of like narrated from the point of view of a different person in his life. And I love the way that it's done, and I'm 50% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know how it ends, but so far I'm like hooked. I can't wait for this to end, this podcast recording, so I can go home and watch more. Okay, now tell me why you are laughing.
I was going to recommend Clickbait Sight Unseen. Why? Because I just knew it would be amazing based on how many people recommended it. You know what we always say? We're normal, basic bitches. We're all inside the bell curve. If a show is popular, we're probably going to like it. So I just saw so many people recommending it to me, DMing it to me. I feel like our listeners know what we're into at this point in terms of TV and stuff like that. So and then I did watch the trailer. Netflix shows you the trailer whether you want it or not. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, of course I would love the show. I'm excited to watch it. So I was going to recommend it even had Sight unseen. So I'm glad that you did recommend it. It's next on my list. What I did watch and want to recommend is He's All That.
The reboot.
So listen, He's All That is a remake of She's All That from the 90s. Mm-hmm. Maybe I was in high school. I don't remember. Great movie, but kind of doesn't age that well today, right? Like the concept of like, let's take this nerdy girl and turn her hot. Like, that's not what people want to see.
I mean, she just was like a hot girl. They put glasses on and they were like, she's a loser. They took the glasses off and everybody's like, wow, she's so hot.
But she was like always covered in paint. You know what I mean? Like
covered in paint.
What?
It is funny. It doesn't age well.
It doesn't age
she's
well.
Artistic and wears glasses and people are like, she's fucking disgusting.
She's like a feminist. Yeah. They're like, she's such a fucking dork. Feminism.
She read a book.
Yeah. So they did it with Addison Rae as the lead, who she's fine. I'm not like, you know, whatever. I'm not a hater of Addison Rae. And I think she did a decent job acting. Okay. And she's kind of makes over this guy who does like, they make him fucking hot. Like she cuts his hair. I'm like, listen, I looked him up before I said this. He is 22 in real life. But a lot of it feels the same. And they do have Rachel Lee Cook, who played the lead, and she's her mom.
The mom?
She's the mom. And then the principal is, I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but if you don't want to know this, you can skip ahead. So skip ahead, spoilers ahead. The principal is Matthew Lillard, who, so Matthew Lillard was
in Scream?
Yeah, in Scream, but he was the guy that Taylor Vaughn was like the girls, that was her name, and she's all that. And Freddie Prinze Jr. was the lead. And anyway, she cheated on Freddie Prinze Jr. with Matthew Lillard. Remember, he was just like an MTV kind of like reality show guy.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's all just done for 2021. So she's an influencer. Kourtney Kardashian is like a boss of hers, kind of. That's her like.
Kourtney Kardashian's in this?
Kourtney Kardashian's in it.
I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, it's a cool cameo because you know they're friends in real life. Mm-hmm. I think Kourtney. Here's what I'm going to say about Kourtney Kardashian. I think you can rest assured that she is who she is on Keeping Up with the Kardashians because she's a terrible actress. So anyway,
I can't imagine her like doing any acting. I can't wait to watch this.
So Addison Rae plays a influencer, and then her boyfriend is kind of like a TikTok type influencer, and then like she catches him cheating, and then she like her friends have her make over this guy. A lot of it really tracks. There's like a cool sister. Do you remember Freddie Prinze Jr.'s sister? And she's all that. She's a huge deal now. I forget her name.
Anna Paquin?
Yeah, Anna Paquin. So a lot of it was cool. I wish they would have gone to the beach. They didn't go to the beach, but they went to this party. They did karaoke. Like I remember She's All That, like, you know, top to bottom. So I was comparing everything. Mm-hmm. And yes, I prefer She's All That. That's like a classic movie, or it's nostalgic for me. And I think it's a little bit better because I just don't think they make movies like they used to, but I think it was fine. I think it was really cute and I really liked it.
Okay. All right. Check it out. I want to check it out now.
I think Matthew Lillard steals the show. Also, I feel like he's aged well. He looked hot.
Matthew Lillard?
Did you not? Well, he's like tall, lanky. Like I was into that look.
All right. Honestly, I'm going to watch it to just watch Kourtney Kardashian try to act.
Okay. Rayna, can I tell you that I thought
he stayed hot.
She was a bad actress. And I go on Twitter to see what people were saying, and people were not saying that. They were like, Kourtney killed it. I was like, oh God.
I gotta say, and I just like to say this publicly because I haven't talked about this on the podcast. No one cares about reality TV and gossip, celeb gossip. It's all I follow. If there is an account about celeb gossip, I follow it. If there's a show about it, I listen to it. I have never cared about anything less in my fucking life than Kourtney Kardashian and her boyfriend. I just don't care.
Really? Really? Keep going.
Why?
No, just keep going.
I just don't care. I've never cared about anything less in my entire life. I don't stand her and Travis Barker. I just don't care.
I cannot believe the way you set me up for this. Someone wrote on our post on Monday in a comment, anyone else feel like Rayna and Kane have major Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker vibes?
I have.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I fucking saw it.
That's such a compliment.
No, Kourtney Kardashian. She's like, what?
So I don't care about the Kardashians either. I do not care about Kourtney and Travis. I think I think they seem like they're like each other's first boyfriend, girlfriend. Yeah. They like are so try hard, whatever. I think it's cute that he rode on a plane. Oh, listen, I keep up, but with I think people meant because you're short and Kane's bald. Like, I think looks wise, like you guys give off that energy.
Okay.
I took it as a compliment for you too.
I don't think our listeners would publicly comment to anything they didn't mean as a compliment. And I understand.
You don't. Maybe not about you.
Maybe not about me. Well, at least we can laugh about it. Okay,
no, but they clearly
not on our Instagram, and that was clearly meant as a compliment. So thank you. Obviously, I know I'm in the minority because, like, my best friend Figgins, like from Pittsburgh, she just like reposts everything about Travis and Courtney. I'm like, I don't even know if we can be friends.
And Megan and Machine Gun.
Yeah, that is the second couple I care absolutely nothing about. It's just they're a little less famous as Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly. I just don't care. I think it's just this thing of like these beautiful women have like tamed these like bad boys or something, and people like really stand it. Or maybe Courtney just seems so miserable for so many years, and they're like, okay, well now she seems like actually happy because she seems so fucking miserable with Scott.
Yeah, I think also like we have re-entered into this like 90s nostalgia kind of thing, and like it brings up some of that like punk rock energy, kind of like this hot girl with this rock star. Like I think people like are kind of feeling that energy. Like everything's about that nostalgia these days. Channing Tatum is riding around New York on a BMX bike with Zoe Kravitz on the back, which I'll tell you, if there's one celebrity couple, whether they're a couple or not, that I care about, and it is Channing Tatum and Zoe Kravitz. I cannot stand it enough. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like masturbated to it.
I feel like anybody she dated, I'd be into it. I think she's great.
I think I'm a stan of both. You know, my original Channing Tatum since Step Up.
Your OG Channing Tatum?
Yeah.
How did you think about him and Jenna? Did you like them as a couple?
Yeah, because of Step Up.
But you like them as a couple?
It was fine.
Jenna Dewan.
It was fine. I feel like he, could. I don't know. I'm sure she's great. I don't have anything bad to say. Like I know Jenna. But I'm like a really hardcore OG Channing Tatum fan, even though he's like a little bit of a butterface. It's just a butter smile.
Does he have a butterface?
It's just his smile. He looks better serious.
He's a good body. I kind of get like John Cena vibes from him.
He's just cool and funny, and he has great swag. He's the best. And I think Zoe Kravitz is the best.
It makes me like him more that he's dating Zoe Kravitz. It gives him like a little edge.
But even when you see them on the streets, they look like they're straight out of the 90s. They're out of like the grunge 90s phase, emo. They're riding a BMX bike. Like
that's a fashion
it looks like that's what I'm saying. So I feel like people like everything that kind of fits that aesthetic is what people are into. And I think that's very like Courtney, Travis.
Yeah.
Megan. Is his name Kelly? I know his name's Machine Gun Kelly, but do we call him? Do you have to say all three words?
Yeah, you have to say all three words. What's his real name? Machine Gun Kelly's name. His name's not Kelly.
I can't believe we're doing a new show of pop culture. I'm having fun with it.
Real name. Okay, guys, stay tuned. His real name is Colson Baker.
Oh my God.
Did you guys know that?
I thought you were going to say something like Herbert or something.
I mean, that guy just looks like he hates his dad.
100%. You know who he looks like? Those two guys we used to date.
Like he hasn't eaten in a month. That is what he looks like.
Okay, last beef I have with somebody. A Dasani meme made the rounds this week.
Okay.
And it was basically, which, our thoughts and prayers are with anybody who was affected by Hurricane Ida. I posted some resources. I think there was like very low like death toll, but of course people lost power. People may have lost their pets. Like we were thinking of anybody who suffered from that. But there was a meme that went around that was like, Bear grocery store. And it was just like Dasani on the bottom. Like, did you see it? And it was like, even in a
pandemic
or not a pandemic, but like even in a catastrophe. People don't want Dasani. And a couple people messaged me and said, I can't remember, do you like or hate Dasani? And I was like, you don't know me at all. Like, how have you never listened? All I do is talk about how much I shit on Dasani.
She never knew me. Okay, I want to know why Dasani is the official water of the airport. Like, how did it get that? Like
Coke connections. It's Coca-Cola. It's like
it can't be Aquafina or
big
Poland
water.
Like Pepsi is the official like drink of the NFL. I don't know if that's true, but like Dasani is the official water of all airports forever, anywhere. And like Aquafina slips in sometimes.
I can't with Aquafina either. But I mean, I will always buy, like, I'll spend $5 on like a Fiji or a Smart Water because I'm not drinking that. But you know that like everybody's trying to buy water on the cheap. Like a Dasani's got to be like 3 cents for a bottle of Dasani. So the airport's just like, order 3 million cases. We don't care. What, you know what I mean?
I fuck with Poland Springs exclusively.
I love Poland Springs. Also, I love Deer Park.
I'll fuck with Deer Park. Mm-hmm. I fuck with it exclusively. Also,
when I'm in Florida, Zephyr Hills.
Florida.
I know local too. I forget there's a Colorado one. No,
we still have to record a whole episode.
Okay. One more thing, we just feel like we would be remiss if we didn't discuss this. You know, Rayna and I, there's a comedy podcast about sex and dating and relationships. So we can't tackle every world issue. We're not going to really dive into foreign policy a lot on this podcast. We do feel like abortion is something that we feel so strongly about, and women's rights, abortion rights. We've done a whole episode on it. If you want to go back and listen with Dr. Mira Shah, and it's something that we feel so strongly and passionately about. So, I mean, what's happened recently in Texas just is like a full blown war on women, the most restrictive, cruelest abortion laws that have ever been passed. The Supreme Court had a chance to knock it down and they didn't. And it's just a tragedy. And it's just so sickening and heartbreaking. And I don't necessarily, I don't have the answer. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like so much is fucked up in the world, and I'm just continually trying to stay updated on what you can do. I mean, you can always call your lawmakers and let them know how you feel, but like where to donate. There was an Act Blue link that I donated to, and your donation went to, I think, like 11 different abortion funds in Texas. So there's different things. I posted some. I'll continue to post more. It's out there. This information's out there. Everybody's posting this. Like, we're recording this today as it happened. So it's still kind of like fresh news to us, but we wanted to at least address it. And so donate, tell your lawmakers how you feel. Like, this fucking sucks, because states like Texas and Alabama, they always try to pull shit like this, but usually it doesn't go through because we had a Supreme Court that didn't let it happen before. So, you know, our thoughts are with the women of Texas, and the hypocrisy is fucking disgusting. And it's just like the people that don't want to wear masks, they're like, my body, my choice, are the same people that are like wanting to control women's bodies. I could go on and on about all the hypocrisy, but whatever. But it makes me sick. And, you know, anyone who feels affected by this, you're in our thoughts, and we'll continue to post resources and stuff like that. But we at least wanted to give some airtime to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I co-signed everything I just said. You said it beautifully. I don't have anything else to add.
Thanks. I did feel like I kind of blacked out and just
you said it. I was like, wow, she's just doing it.
I didn't prepare. Do you want to introduce our topic today?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's just us today. And this was inspired by somebody who gave me some advice. And I was like, you literally have no right to give me this advice. So we were talking about the worst dating advice and the worst sex tips that people have given you and how they go horribly wrong, and advice you shouldn't take from people, and who you should take advice from. And so that inspired this. And we asked you guys, what's the worst dating advice you've ever gotten? We asked you for your worst sex tips. We're going to read some stories later, but that is what today's episode is about.
Yeah. So we were talking about this. Rayna was telling me that she had talked to 2 people about something in her relationship. And I was like, those people both gave you advice based solely on the experience that they've had, like without taking anything else into account. And I think that is where people go so wildly wrong in any type of advice giving situation, whether it's career, diet, health, like a relationship, sex, like it's self-absorbed. I'm not saying that the people who do it are all self-absorbed, but it's self-absorbed to only give people advice based on your personal experience without taking into account any, you know, universal knowledge, human behavior knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, I think what we try to do is always share personal experiences. You guys want to hear our personal experiences, but also is always try to say that everybody's different. This is how this happened for me, but it does not mean that's going to happen that way for anybody else. Like, taking into people's account, like their life experience, like where they grew up, their privilege, their gender, their age, like all those types of things. And just keeping in mind that everybody is so different. And there's some things that always apply, you know, like when people ask me for advice, I hear them. If I experience something similar, I would like obviously discuss that if it came up and it was applicable. But I'm always trying to think of like, okay, well, here's what I know about men, sex, cheating, psychology of how people's brains works, love languages, attachment theory, like all those things. Where I think where people just go so wrong is like, it's really bad. It's kind of, I feel like it gets into a lot of the like life coach type of people that are out here coaching other people based solely on their experience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's conventional wisdom that it will apply to a lot of things. And I think in general, most people are well-meaning. So like when you're taking advice from your mother, who's 35 years older than you, or somebody who's only been in one relationship since they're 22 years old, they've been with one person for 15 years and no one else. Everybody's well-meaning, but I think that when you start to feel bad about the advice that people are giving you, it's good to remember, like, they are giving advice from their specific point of view. This is something that works specifically for them in one scenario. I am different. I'm socioeconomically different. My gender is different. My age is different. And so you can take people's advice with a grain of salt, but like, yeah, I would take mine and Ashley's advice over most people's because we've read every text on earth about, about the theories about how we love and why we love, and we interview people for a living. And I still, we've interviewed every person I think that's an expert in this field over 4 years. I still would not deign to say somebody, do this, leave your partner, do this, or, you know, this thing will work. And we'll talk about like playing games with people, but like, it's like a one size strategy for one situation all the time.
Right. And I do think there are some quote unquote rules, but then there's still like exceptions to those rules. You know what I mean? And I always want to like hammer that home. I feel like with the family episode, I couldn't say enough. I'm like, I don't feel like this, but you could, because you have a totally different family than me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so, I'm not, this isn't to gas each other up. I just, the point before we really get into all this is like, you're going to know when people give you advice like that, because it's going to sound like very definitive answers, advice, solutions, whatever it may be, because, well, that's what worked for me and Chad. You know what I mean? Like someone saying, oh my gosh, you cannot move in too early because of this, this, and this, because me and my relationship, like they make it about them and they center themselves. And that's when you're like, you just like let them talk, but you're like, I'm not listening. Cause it's just, you know, oh my God, you cannot sleep with them yet. Because for me and my experience, like, it's like, okay.
Well, with Brad and I just kept chasing him and I just kept showing up and I just showed up at every bar he went to. And eventually, like, I wore him down. And it's like, that's great for you and Brad. And there's just some people I wouldn't talk about dating advice from. Like my brother, I think and my sister-in-law, his wife, they have one of my favorite relationships. I aspire to be in a relationship like them. They've been together for 10 years. They love each other so much that this perfect couple. But they've been together since they were 22. They've never done dating apps. They've never been single. They've never moved to a new city and been completely on their own. You know, they've always had this partnership. They've grown up together. They have the ideal relationship, but I'm not asking them for dating advice, you know, because just, their life experience is nothing like mine. You chose your partner at 22. You moved in together after living apart for like 3 or 4 years at an age when everybody moves in together. We're a different gender. We're a different age. It's just, I'm not, even though I think that they're like so smart and I love their relationship, I'm not asking for relationship advice because you know nothing about what it's like to be in your mid 30s and be single.
Right. No and that I wouldn't ask somebody for relationship advice that is a couple that lives in a small town that, you know, has nothing in common with my life and my experience. And I'm like, so how do you guys make it work? Like, it wouldn't apply.
It wouldn't apply. And like other generational advice.
Yes.
Like my mom is 70 years old. Like, I mean, both my parents aren't out here trying to like hammer dating advice into me at this point. I mean, they think they know that I got this, but you know, somebody that's like such a different generation that grew up without the internet and dating apps. Like, I don't want to say that like they don't understand conventional wisdom, because people are people, you know, and I think people want the same things no matter how old they are, but the avenues to get there and the amount of opportunities and options that exist for our generation, what our generation wants from a partner is wildly different than what my mom and her generation wanted and how many options they had. And 100%. You can't take your mom, your aunt, your grandma, like, I think you can thank those people. They're well-meaning, and you can just say like, your life has nothing to do with my life. And that's it. So like, don't let it bother you or upset you when all these people are like, my relationship's so perfect and this is what like me and Chad did. And it's just like, that worked for you guys. And how many people do I know in my life that like have been super smug about their relationships and then broke up? So like, you do what's right for you, because you are you and only you know what is going to work for you.
Right. And every situation has like nuance and context and everything's so different. There is some stuff that kind of just applies across the board. Sending out a text on an app, like, let me know when you're free, would love to grab a drink. It's going to work or it's not going to work. And I feel comfortable like spouting off that advice. The same with kind of Jared Freed type advice. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we're all kind of the same. You know, yeah, everybody could be different and triggered in certain ways, but there is some kind of universal things that like most people can kind of say will work or it won't. And back to people who have a different lifestyle, they're of a different generation. Like, we're obviously not saying that those people can't give incredible wisdom, knowledge, advice. Like, that goes without saying, especially if they have the qualifications to do so. We just mean people who base everything they say in a very confident, immovable fashion based singularly on their own experience and nothing else for your individual situation. You know what I mean?
Or all these canned responses, we'll get into them, but like, it'll happen when you least expect it, or like, you know, just play hard to get. It's like, did you read that on like a bumper sticker? Like, this doesn't apply to me. Like, this like one size of like, this is how you do this thing. Like, well, that's not how life works. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, take people's advice with a grain of salt.
And everything, like, I think about this, like, this is dating today, dating advice, but like, while we're on the topic, like, I think about this so much with people's bodies, like, because people, you know, they want to be healthier, or they might want to like lose weight or get more fit. And it's like, I see health coach type people, like, I see people do it really well, and I see people do it so poorly because they're basing it based on their personal body, when we're all so different. We all have like different shapes and like metabolisms and all this stuff. And like, Kate Kennedy does a great job with kind of calling out a lot of the like life coaching type things. I mean, obviously she did a huge deep dive on Rachel Hollis. Like, anyway, I think she's a great follow in that kind of arena of like, a lot of this is bullshit. You know, career, like, I got to this thriving business. It's like, doing what? And like, how much, like, tell me more about your quote unquote thriving business in the first place. You're coaching other people. Like, it's just, I've been loving her lately in terms of like kind of putting on blast a lot of this stuff, because this shit can like really impact people's lives for the worse.
100%. Our friend Emily Fedner, who has a great account about food, but she posted this thing today and was talking about how like, you look at all these influencers that have like left their jobs and taken a risk to become a fashion influencer, and like, you look at them and you're so jealous, but like, I don't know that advice applies to everybody. Just like, take a risk and quit your job. It's like, well, do you have a trust fund from your parents? Like, some of these fashion influencers,
right, have a safety net.
Yeah, because their parents have a house in the Hamptons. And and how do you think they got all that clothing?
Totally, I totally agree with that. I mean, people ask me sometimes like a simple question, like, "Well, how did you grow? How did you build this viral Instagram account? How did you start this podcast? It was popular on day one." I'm like, I cannot answer that without telling you my whole life story, because I didn't build it from scratch. I all this other stuff was like building blocks on top of this. So I can't tell you how to start from ground zero without a platform or without a blog, or like, I've always struggled with like people asking me for some sort of like secret or tip, where I'm like, I cannot answer that without a lot of background info, because that wasn't my experience. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, I had one of the biggest food blogs in the United States, but I was a waitress since I was 14.
Right.
I worked in restaurants my entire life. I went to culinary school. I worked for the best restaurateurs in New York. All I've ever spent my money on is food. It's all I've ever cared about ever. I also started that account when no food Instagram accounts existed. Like, I was right place, right time. I had the right knowledge. Like, it's some of it's luck, some of it's hard work. I can't tell you how to do it.
I know. Right. Like, I like the luckiest part of, like, what's the last thing I'm going to say? Like, people always ask about like, it's luck versus hard work. I feel like it's a mix of both always. And I feel like the luckiest thing that ever happened was me meeting you. That's the luckiest part of our business. What if I didn't meet you? What if I just did this with somebody else? Why are we going down this road?
I don't know. I think it applies. It's like, follow your dreams, but like, take advice with a grain of salt. When somebody's like, you know, just follow your passion and the money will follow. It's like, I don't know. Do you have the money to follow your passion? Like, don't feel bad when you see these people being like, just follow your passion, and you have no money in your bank account. Like, right. Be realistic.
God, that's such a good call.
Like, if
I took the leap, it's like, your parents are rich.
Your parents took the leap, okay? But it's like, if my brother was like, just put yourself out there, I did, and I found my wife. It's like, yeah, you were a hot, rich, 24-year-old white man, 22, whatever. He wasn't rich back then. Whatever. You know what I mean? I am in my mid-30s, and the advice from a man in his early 20s does not apply to me.
Right. Or my brother, how he's like, my brother who just got hit on, I don't know, 300 times a night. You got to have his pick. That's not my experience, Matt. Not that Matt's trying to give me the dating advice.
Right. Neither of our brothers are trying to give us dating advice.
He had it pretty easy. 6'7" bartender.
Right. Or my mom who's 70. It's like, you picked a partner, but you don't want the same things in a partner as I do. We're in a different generation. So anyways, we've beaten this to death.
That was a rant for the ages.
All right, so we were talking about worst dating advice and just like the crazy shit people will say to you. And we asked you guys to tell us what is the worst dating advice you've ever gotten. You guys submitted really funny one-liners, and then we're going to read through them and we're going to pick them all apart. So do you want to kick them off?
Yes, I'll kick it off. I'm just going to run through a few of these. Too fast, too loud. But All men are the same. Just pick one. If you kept your man sexually pleased, he wouldn't cheat. Trying too hard is off-putting, so you should just sit back and wait. You'll find someone when you stop looking. It will happen when you least expect it. Don't be quick to answer texts. You will seem needy. Play the game. Maybe you're trying too hard for guys out of your league. Go for what your heart wants. Then she wrote, bitch, my heart wants fuck boys. Wait 3 days to text after a first date. Don't get me started. Don't eat too much. It's off-putting. Play down your intellect so he doesn't feel dumb. Guys don't like funny girls, so let him be the funny one and stick it out. Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Forever.
Welcome to your long road.
Yeah.
Don't tell men about your trauma. Even your long-term partner, they don't want to hear it. He'll change. He's just shy. Keep trying. Talk as little as possible. It makes you more mysterious. I feel like if a guy wanted these things, like I'd just be out. It's okay if he doesn't suck toes.
How did that one get in there? Okay.
Somebody was that was like for me, because they're like, you ugly Pete. Yeah. If you don't cry over him, you never cared. Downplay your career and success. Those things are intimidating to men. Go to support groups for people who have lost their spouses to diseases.
What diseases?
First of all, Ashley just thought it was like to go to support groups if you lost your spouse. And she's like, why'd you put this on here? It's
I like deleted
advice.
it. And Rayna goes, no, wait a minute. Read that back.
What kind of person would give you that kind of advice? That's insane. All right, you can keep going.
Oh, you want to keep going? Oh,
sure.
Rayna doesn't like to read as much as me. Okay. Date someone the complete opposite of you. Give as many blowjobs as you want, but don't have sex. And that's from her brother. Have you tried church or the grocery store to meet men? That's from her dad. Sex is something a man needs, and it's a woman's job to give it to him. That's from her aunt. Well, he is a man after all. That's from her grandma. That's not all the same girl. It's just these group of people that said it. 6 likes on the gram from Jared Freed. Be a bitch to guys. They love it. Once you lose weight, you'll get a man. Gross. You have to give it time. Gross advice. Sorry to clarify. You have to give it time. Attraction can grow. Pretend you don't care. Save your marriage by having children. Don't shave before a date so that you definitely won't sleep with them. Listen, that is a good tip. Because you will actually get laid. Stop being so picky. Maybe your standards are too high and you're getting too old, so you might as well settle. And she said, I'm 24, but I'm from Georgia. Listen, I had to leave Georgia because of that shit.
The thing that came up so much, like probably the number one thing that came up was this whole like, don't try so hard. He'll come when you least expect it. And it's just like, I hate this passive. So, okay, let me back up. I think a lot of these things are probably rooted in some good wisdom. It's just the way that you're expressing it is wrong. Don't try so hard. He'll come when you least expect it. Like, don't be this aggressor. Like, just relax. I think it just means like, try to enjoy your life a little bit more and don't be so like focused on this. But like for people that are like, but I want to get married. I want to be in a relationship. This whole like, he'll come when you least expect it, when you're not looking at all. It's like, okay, but I want to be looking because I want to be an active participant in my life. I want to be on the offense. And so I do want to try. And when you boil it down, the good part of advice that's sort of on the flip side of this is like, just live your life. Have hobbies, go out, be busy, be good at your job, like say yes to a lot of things, go to whatever it is that you people go to, workout classes and amusement parks and restaurants. And like, he'll come along. If you put yourself in social situations, if you don't seem like desperate, you'll meet people. So I think that like you can flip that advice and that's probably what people mean a little bit. But as a single person, for somebody to say like, stop trying, he'll just come when you least expect it. It's like, shut up.
Okay. I love everything you said. Go off, queen. I love the thing of you saying it's like rooted potentially in like good advice. Like, yes, of course. Like always like, this is tricky because also just do whatever the fuck you want. There are so many people that probably swore off dating. They weren't looking. They were just living their life. They were traveling the world. They were killing it at their career, whatever. And they did meet somebody. Like, I get it. And it can happen. There are also people who made dating their job and treat it like a job search and went on a million dates and realized it was a numbers game and found their partner too. Mm-hmm. So it's whatever. Like, it's whatever works. Like, I love a lot of the guests we've had on the show. John Berger, his quote is in his book, Make Your Move. It's better to choose than to be chosen. Like, sit back and wait is not advice by any stretch. Mm-hmm. I love Shambooty's advice. You're in the driver's seat. Take control of your dating life and your sex life. Like, I love all of that. We'll always say to live your life outside of a guy. Like, the bad advice is to like sit around and wait. You know what I mean? And like, but the good advice is to like live your best life, but also like be open and explore opportunities. Like, it happens when you least expect it. Yeah, sure. Okay. Like, who is who was every day going out like, today I'm going to meet my husband, but also someone probably went out and said, today I'm going to meet my husband, and then they did.
Yeah, it'll happen when you stop looking. But I want to look.
Right,
like,
right.
I don't like, a lot of people like, I don't want to be single. I want to be with somebody. I want to come home to someone every night. I want to look.
And again, I cannot stress enough, I love that quote that it's better to choose than to be chosen. And so I think ultimately we take that advice off the table, because what I don't want is someone to think that that is the holy grail of advice, and then they find themselves looking and they're like, but wait, this isn't how it's going to happen. No, wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you hear it enough. Like, it's not going to happen if you, like, a watch pot never boils kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not true. It's not true. You can be trying, you can be actively dating, trying, looking for that person, and you could find them 100%. Happens all the fucking time.
Yeah. I feel like I was always actively looking for somebody, in the sense that, like, I want to find a partner. I'm open to it, but I went and lived my fucking life, Yeah. And I think that that's the advice that you should take from that. It's not when you stop looking. It's like when you just start living your life and enjoying what you're doing, and you go on a date when it feels right, and you won't go on a date when you don't. Like, how many people are out here dating when they hate it? Like, so many people just, like, they go on dating apps and they're like, I hate talking to people. I have this date tonight. I don't want to do it. Then don't.
Exactly. That was, like, something I was going to say too. It's just like, if you feel burnt out, stop. Like, you know what I mean? Do not feel like you need to be out there. And like you said, like, when you are living your best life and you're not, like, so desperate for a partner, but you're totally open, like, you become a more attractive person to potential partners. You know what I mean? Like, I think, like you said, it's rooted in this, like, don't be desperate and needy and singularly focused, I guess.
Yeah, because
that's a bad look.
You and I have seen people like that, and those people attract bad people. Like, those people attract people that are going to manipulate you, take advantage of you. They want somebody weak. They want somebody that they can manipulate, and you're going to attract the wrong people when you're just like, I want this. My need to be in a relationship supersedes any other need in the world. My need for X thing supersedes it. Like, my need to find somebody with money supersedes finding somebody who's nice to me. You'll attract those people, but they're not good people to attract.
And then you'll have to change yourself, which is another piece of bad advice.
Thank you for segueing. I think a lot of women live in this world where, like, people are just constantly telling them, like, be less. Like, women have said to us over the years, like, are men intimidated by my success or by my boldness? And you can only be what you are. If you're talkative, if you are successful, if you make money, if you love to eat, and, you just want to like power through, you want to do like a bang bang to two restaurants. Yeah. Like, you only can be who you are, and ultimately the person is going to date who you are. So they have to like you. And
100%.
I think women are just constantly being told to, like, be less. Don't be the funny one. Men don't like it. Don't be so smart. Men are intimidated by it. Don't talk so much. Men don't like that. Be mysterious. And I think that, like, the overall advice is don't be an asshole. If you're successful, you don't need to tell somebody how successful you are. Let them see.
They'll find out. Yes. I love that too. I mean, be yourself always, but, like, I don't know. I try to be aware. Like, I try, we can sit in this room, you, me, and Rob, and we can talk about the big things that we're doing and the money we're making and stuff like that. That's not date conversations. You know what I mean? Right away.
Right.
Like, that's like, I don't need to peacock. You'll figure it out as we get to know each other. And if we don't get to know each other further than this first date, and you don't really know about my success, then I don't give a fuck. You'll probably see me on the internet one day. Like, I think it's kind of like, stay aware, because I don't think really many people like that type of, like, peacocking, braggadocious. And, like, I am aware how much I talk on a first date. I have really kept a lot of Matthew Hussey's advice on the cadence and the pauses and the, like, not rushing in after as soon as someone finishes something, like, taking a beat and, like, to create that chemistry. Like, I'm trying to be a little better about it, because I understood what he said, and I'm not trying to change who I am. Like, I'm not trying to be less talkative, not saying things that I want to say, but I don't know. I'm staying aware of it. You know what I mean? So again, like, all this terrible advice, there can be some, like, good tips low key in there somewhere, but we just did this article with Bustle on date tips. One thing that you wrote was, like, make sure you're balancing talking about yourself as well as asking about questions of them, cause I could talk about myself forever, but I think sometimes you just have to be aware, like, okay, am I talking too much? Am I being too loud? Not in a way that it's bad, but just, like, I want to be a good participant in a social setting, just like I'd want to be on a date. You know what I mean? That's just not a like women need to be quiet. I'm just like, Ashley, are you being too loud? Maybe you should take a beat and listen to what other people have to say.
Yeah, just feel the situation out. Read the room. This advice of like, don't tell people about your trauma. They don't want to hear about it. Don't tell them about your trauma on your first date. And I think that you can like talk about things that are happening in your life, and maybe like don't cry on dates 1 through 3. I think there's ways to finesse all this stuff. I'm the same way. Like I will give the keys to the kingdom away in the first hour. I will tell you everything about myself because I'm an open book. Our career has thrived because I'm an open book. I'll talk about anything, but not everybody is comfortable with that all the time. And you can leave people wanting a little bit more. Like somebody doesn't need your whole life story. And I forget which guest said this to us. I forget it was Shampoo Dram or somebody, but when we said, are men intimidated by your success? And whoever the guest was says, well, it depends on how you talk about that success. Like women said, like, are men intimidated that I'm successful and I make a lot of money? And it's like, well, how do you talk about that stuff and be conscious of that? Are you telling somebody how much money you make? Are you saying I'm the most successful? Are you letting them kind of figure that out on their own? Because all of this stuff is finesse, like you can talk about whatever you want. Just like, how are you talking about it?
Yeah, there is like a fine line of quote unquote advice on like the way to be on a date, because I don't want to tell people not to be themselves. It's not that, you know what I mean? But I think if I could observe dates sometimes, I would be like, whew, this person on this date should have taken it down a notch. You know what I mean? Like they should have made themselves small. I'm talking about the guy or the girl, whatever it is, whatever kind of relationship. But like alcohol can be in the mix too. And people can get too chatty. They spill too much. They fucking cry. It isn't necessarily attractive.
It's true. Yeah. I know some people that are like, I was just like sarcastic and funny. And it's like, were you negging them?
Yeah.
Was it mean sarcasm? Because like I've seen like sometimes like, you'll read your friend's text to other people and your friend reads it in their voice, but you read it in how a normal person's voice would read it. And you're like, that wasn't my friend. Like she was making fun of this guy for the way he spelled his name on a dating app. His name was Jeff, but he spelled it Geoff, whatever. And like right out of the gate, she was like, oh, you're one of like those people that spells your name in a stupid way. And I was like, I would never talk to you again.
Yeah, I don't want to be nagged. Yeah.
If somebody said to me, like, the way that you spell Rayna is actually Reina, idiot, I'd be like, okay, then fuck off.
Yeah.
So, like, are you being funny and playful, or are you being sarcastic and nagging somebody and they don't like it? Like, read the room.
Okay? Right. Because, there is always, like, room for improvement. We're not perfect. Like, I look back at, like, the way I used to act on, like, a date, for example, or in a job situation, 10 years ago. It's mortifying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that I had bosses and, guys I've dated, like people to like tell me how I'm coming across, put me in my place. They weren't saying like, Ashley, make yourself small. Don't be successful. Don't be loud. But they were kind of like, here's how you come across. I'm like, noted. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to, advice is helpful. You know what I mean? That's why I'm trying to toe this line and not be like, go out there and be whoever you want. Like everybody can be a little cooler, right?
Well, okay, so here's a good example. Like my friend Melanie, I worked with her Groupon, and she like forwarded me these emails that I sent to like the CEO of the company, and they were like very like, he needs to apologize to me. God, yeah. Like I think I'm such a bad bitch. I think I'm so in charge. It is so cringy what I was saying to the person who is my boss. And I like remember the conversations he would say to me, and like now I feel like through his advice and through her making fun of me for these emails, things like that, like I can still put somebody in their place, and I can still tell somebody that I know better than them, and I don't have to do it in a way that like degrades somebody. It makes them feel stupid. It makes me look like a little bitch. And I think that like you can be yourself and still be a better, like the best version of yourself. And don't change anything about yourself, but like just be aware of how you come off.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. All the game stuff, like the 3 days of text, man, I'm going to reference this article again. Like we just did this article with Bustle. I don't know when it's coming out, but hopefully they just print everything we wrote up. I'd be really proud of it. I really had fun doing it. Rayna and I kind of collabed on this like date article. And we love Bustle. And it was like, are people still doing, the question was like, are people still doing the 72-hour rule, which is 3 days? And it's like, no, I hope not. Like, I'm sorry. You and I we fucking date. Like we hook up, we date, we, for so long. Like if someone waits 3 days after a date, first of all, it's like, I'm never going to hear from them. Any guy that it's ever been successful with is contacting me sometimes that night when they get home. In the Uber or the next morning. Like I feel like it's an automatic not going to work out because you had to do that, right? You had to wait. You had to make a decision to play that game. And if not, then you didn't make an impact on that person at all. You know what I mean? Like if you want to date with somebody, you have fun, you have a great time, you really connect, and they wait 3 days to get in touch with you. I guess there are exceptions to the rule where they were just super busy. Something crazy happened. Somebody died. Okay, fine. I'm saying if that wasn't the case, their day was just as normal. It was pretty relaxed. Nothing, no fires at work. Nobody died. They either didn't think about you once and then thought maybe like before the weekend they might get late or something, or they were purposely waiting because they thought that's like what you're supposed to do. I don't want either.
Bye.
I don't want it. And so like, I think that rule's kind of out the window. I don't think it's, maybe, I don't know people that are doing that. I don't know guys that are doing that. Like we have tons of awesome, cool guy friends. They don't do like, it just feels so antiquated and stupid.
At the best case scenario, if I don't hear from somebody in 3 days, it's just that they were too oblivious to think it was a nice thing to thank me for my time. And I don't want that guy either.
Yeah.
You know?
It's bizarre.
This whole like act like you don't care, play games, like, why don't you just go out and live your life? Why don't you just like have a life that's fun, have friends, have hobbies, have activities, go to shit, make plans, and then like you won't care. You won't be sitting next to your phone. It won't be so imperative this person texts you. Like you don't have to play games. You could just play the game. Like just go out and live your life and it'll be exciting when you hear from somebody. I think you should text somebody when you feel like it. I think you should not text somebody you don't feel like it. If you're walking to your car 20 seconds after a date, something was funny, I had fun tonight. Fire it off. Like, who doesn't want to hear I had a great time? You don't have to text them 30 times the next day, but like a great, I had fun tonight. Like, who doesn't want to hear that? And like, I have just found throughout my dating life, it's been a lot of men. If a man doesn't like you, no amount of playing games is going to get them to like you. Like you, I guess, can like manipulate them and hope it works. You can like parade around with other men and post thirst traps and like whatever. But if somebody's not into you, like no amount of fucking around and like waiting 3 days is going to make them wake up and realize how special you are.
Yeah. And it's just also like, it's two layers. Like I feel like this usually applies to like a first date, right? Like if you've been on a couple dates with somebody and they're waiting 3 days, what is going on here? But like first date with somebody, you know what I always say? I think you're fine to ghost. If you don't hook up, you don't let them inside you, you don't touch mouths, you go on a couple drink date with a stranger from an app, you don't have to talk to them again. Listen, that's just my take. It's still nice. I still think it's also nice if they contact you to be like, I just don't see a connection here. I don't think ignore, but I think you can both mutually ghost.
Yeah. I went on a date with somebody that was like terrible a couple years ago. He never contacted me again and I never contacted him. And I felt totally great.
Yeah.
I'm like, who cares?
But if you go on a date with a stranger and then you spend an evening together, you do a couple drinks, you do dinner, whatever, and you have a nice time, 3 days later, I don't remember you. Like, why are you waiting? You don't want to be top of mind? Like, who are you?
Don't you have anything funny to say over the next 72 hours about what we talked about? I am interesting as shit. Fucking banter with me.
Yeah, it's weird. And I mean, the rules are so old and they're rooted in bad science too. Like that's another thing that I love what John Berger said, like all the game playing and stuff and like, you know, men chasing women, like a lot of it's just rooted in like bad experiments.
If you want to like be a bitch and that gets guys for you, fine. If you want to like fuck with people and post all these thirst traps and you want to look like that kind of person, that's fine. But like, I don't know. I would rather just like be myself, do what feels fun. Hopefully they like it. If they don't, I'll fucking date somebody else, you know?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, with all this stuff, of course, like we said, there's exceptions to the rule. There's people who went out with somebody, didn't hear from them for 2 weeks and now they're married. Like I have a friend that happened to her, you know, like, but when it comes to like the telling people this bad advice, what we're talking about today and playing games, like that's the kind of what we're talking about. And like you said, some of it actually has some like good advice, but it's just gotten like so blown out of proportion into these like extremes, like men love bitches. It's like, I think what they mean is like they like girls that got their own shit going on and they're cool and they're not like desperate for you, right?
Yeah.
Is that a bitch?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Or some men do really want to be like emasculated constantly. I'm probably not going to date them. But like, I also think that like we talked about this Matthew Hussey, like the same piece of dating advice applied to different people will have completely different results. Like I believe in being pretty honest. If I'm into you, I'm going to text you. I'm going to tell you I'm into you. Not every second, but like I tried something with a guy about a year ago. I was like, I'm super into you. He seemed to respond really well to it. And then he completely ghosted out of my life. And I was like super upset about it. But like with Kane, I also was just like upfront and honest, and I pursued him a little bit. I liked to check in and text him, and it did work out. So like you apply the same advice to 100 different people, you get 100 results.
Be yourself. That's pretty broad too, but more like act in a way that you're happy and proud of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you can look back and be like, I like that I did that.
Yeah, and then you can operate with dignity. If yourself is terrible, don't be yourself. Good word.
I'm gonna make this quick, but this sex stuff, whatever, guys. We beat this to death. You want to wait. You want to fuck on the first night? Fuck on the first night. I personally am not really trying to have sex with somebody that like I don't totally feel confident that I'm going to hang out with them again. And sometimes that's just a feeling that I have. You know what I mean? Like I've been there before where I had sex with somebody, never heard from them again. It feels like shit. You know what I mean?
It does.
And so, but I've had sex with guys first night and we've been boyfriend, girlfriend, you know? So it's just like, so have you. So again, it's just people that say, if you have sex with someone too early, they will not want to date you. They will not want to wife you up. Not true. So
they won't respect you. I don't know. If you don't respect me because I wanted to have fun and I was doing these, well, I don't respect you either. Okay. I don't respect you because you got naked and had sex with me. You're a slut too. Okay?
Yeah.
So do whatever you guys want. I'm with Ashley. I mean, I don't think it ever hurts to like wait a couple dates, like whatever. If you want to fuck on the first date, you'll want to fuck on the third date. Like, and I think that there have been scenarios where like I've slept with somebody and I like got ghosted and that like really hurts and it sucks. But like, I don't know, if I'm having fun and I'm feeling it and I feel like he really likes me and then they never talk to me again after we have sex, like then you're not a nice person. That has nothing to do with me.
And again, everybody's different. And like some people can sleep with someone and never hear from them and it doesn't affect them. It affects me. And I'm not going to try to act like I'm so hard, you know, like it's just like,
I'm not out here being a bad bitch.
Like, it hurts my feelings. If you like saw me naked, you never talked to me again. Like it's happened so few times, but the few times it's happened, I don't like it. And that's just me.
That also changed throughout my life. Like I think when the stakes were a little bit lower, when I was like in college, I was just racking up dudes, fucking all these people. Like I didn't care. I'll fuck a different dude every day. What do I care?
Okay.
But now I feel like the people that are like in my life, I view them more as like a long-term partner. So I'm like, okay, the stakes are a little higher, you know? Yeah. So if I'm going to sleep with you, I want to feel like I like you. You know, I know you. Who cares? Guys, just do whatever you want.
It's just nice to hear from somebody if you got fucking naked with them. You know, like I slept with somebody after your birthday and I just, you know, I think maybe mutually we were like, that was really fun, but we're not going to date maybe. And we still texted the next day. What? Yeah, Rayna, you know me. No, I don't date Jews. Like, come on. Like we texted the next day and we've, you know, we like each other's stuff on Instagram and that's great. I don't feel like used and thrown out. And I don't want someone to feel like that either to me. Like I don't, vice versa. I don't want someone to feel like I fucked them and never want to hear from them again. You know what I mean? Like that was a true one night stand, but I'll say what's up. I'd hug the guy if I saw him in a bar and that feels nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're out. It's summertime. We were on a boat tonight. Yeah. We just want to get naked together.
I don't have any ill feelings, but if I never heard from him again, like fuck you. It's just rude.
It is rude. Okay. Let me ask you. Okay. And then you're going to pop off.
Oh God.
When somebody's like opposites attract, like it's somebody totally different than you. Okay. What do you think?
Opposites attract. I mean, well, I'll reference our episode called Are We Too Different, which I love. That was their big episode. Yes. That was in June of 2020. Oh my gosh. We could deep dive on this maybe on another whole episode, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck people mean by this. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I think sameness can create boredom. And if you like all the same things, I think everyone knows where I stand, different hobbies and having different friend groups and traveling without your partner, with your girlfriends, with your guy friends. Like I think that creates chemistry, being apart from each other. We've talked about this a million times. We've talked about this with so many experts. So like I like to do some different stuff than you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there comes a point where like we're not compatible. Like a guy that lives in Montana and wants to be outdoorsy and camp every weekend is not going to work with me. As much as we might have some sexual attraction, but it's kind of very unrealistic Hallmark movie bullshit to me that like a city girl meets this small town guy. You don't have the same type of life that you want to live. You probably have some different types of values. Like it can, I guess, I don't know what people exactly mean, but I think sometimes there is this weird image of like big city, small town person, you know, like different, you know, lifestyles. And I don't know how those things really match up. They totally can also. But like, I think that movies and TV, pop culture has just sort of romanticized some of these unrealistic concepts like opposites attract. It's just not really how life works.
Yeah. I think that like it can always work, but do I think it makes it harder when you have socioeconomic backgrounds that are different? You have education differences, you have differences in how you want to live your life and what kind of things are the most important things to you. I mean, that guy I dated in Charleston, I was wildly attracted to him. I had fun with him. He was so hot. He was a Southern Christian boy who wanted to live like a really small town life. And the things that were important to me were important to him, but he would never have understood one thing about my life long-term. And we have none of the same long-term goals. And that's okay. His goals are great and my goals are great. The way that we were raised is totally different. And that's fine. But like that would never have been a long-term partner for me. I'm sure that like there's Southern Christian small town boys that I could date. He wasn't one of them. We had totally different backgrounds. I grew up in the East Coast. I'm a Jew. I want to be like this big success. I think he wants to like go live on a boat with his 2 dogs the rest of his life. Great. And he can find tons of girls that want to do that with him.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you could probably interview a bunch of people and everybody would have a different definition of what that means, of what opposites attract means. I mean, I think some things are important in like maybe how people react. For example, you and I are different in like the best of ways. Like I can tend to like just be a little more reactive. I can be a little bit more controlling. Like I can be like a little bit more competitive or whatever. Like you and I would like work so perfectly because you're not as reactive. You know what I mean? Like you don't like have an ego. Like we're not competitive with each other. Like it's just, I mean, I say this in the biggest compliment possible. Like I couldn't actually work with somebody that was just like me. It would actually not work at all. But we're not opposites. Like I also feel like I'm the same person as you. We want the exact same things. We have the exact same sense of humor. We have so much in common too. So the best things are opposite, I guess, that make us work.
But like you also compliment me in the sense that, yeah, I am a little more easygoing. So like sometimes like when I will deal with like a vendor and like, I'm like, you're fucking lucky it's me and not Ashley. Cause like Ashley would be hammering you and I'm like, not that you're never disrespectful to anybody, but sometimes you will just stay on the phone and be like, I want the answer. This like flowery thing that like Rayna will allow you to do is not going to happen.
I mean, you got to give yourself more credit because sometimes Rayna, she will come in and you don't see her coming.
I am envious that you are a little more bold than me. You are quicker to stand up for yourself than me. And I've said to you multiple situations in my life where I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. And you were like, well, initially I would have handled it differently in the best way. You know, I'm envious of it. So like you can find somebody that compliments you. You know, like I feel like Kane gives me great advice and he has a lot of emotional depth and into situations that I don't really have emotional depth into or, you know, insights into. That you have to find somebody that can compliment you.
Yes.
But your opposite, no.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like it's lifestyle versus like how you're built. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, someone that was exactly like me, like would be a mess in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we could be friends or whatever, but like, but it's just, I always think about that. Like, I just think that we've seen a lot of like dumb examples of like people that live totally different lives. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, good for you if you think it can, but like love doesn't conquer all. It just doesn't. Yeah. Like it can be fun for a couple of months, but like then you got to live your life with this person.
I mean, you see, like I've been watching Bachelor in Paradise, and like I don't really know what's going to happen. Or actually, I need to watch last night's because Kendall's coming back on, and like we've had Kendall Long on the show, and Joe is on it. Oh, so they essentially broke up because they didn't want to live in the same place. I don't know what's going on with them. And again, we can only speak on her, what you see on TV and what we've had her on the show, which was so long ago at this point before COVID. But like that was a couple that had a lot of love and broke up because they didn't want to live in the same place. Like that's an opposite thing. That opposite didn't attract. He was like, I don't want to live there. And she's like, well, I don't live there. And it's like, you got to break up because that's the rest of our life.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I just think that like people tell you is like, you'll feel butterflies when it's right. I don't know. To me, butterflies are nice. I don't think it means it's compatible. I think it's just lust. I think that like I've felt butterflies with people that were just fucking with me. And like what I was feeling was just like anxiety. It wasn't butterflies, you know? I mean, I think you can feel butterflies, but like, I think it's nice to be like, does this feel good because the lows are so low? And so when I get a break from the lows, it just feels really good. Or like, you know, does it make sense?
Yeah. I mean, you know your body. Like I like to feel excited about somebody, but you should know if something just feels like anxiety and like tightness in your chest and like in your like swirlies in your stomach. Like, you know, we say this all the time, the right person should make you feel at ease and comfortable, and you should walk away from your dates with them or your time spent with them and feel comfortable and warm and fuzzy more than anxious and jittery. And I think, you know, before you maybe really know yourself, maybe when you're a little bit younger, not that you can't know yourself when you're young. I'm just saying, I think a lot of times you are like, he gives me butterflies. It's like, let's talk about that feeling. Is it because you don't know if you're going to hear from him again? Like
100%. I will never forget this. A couple years ago, a friend of mine and I, two of my friends, I was at brunch with this girl and she thought she had dinner plans with this guy. She'd been for like 6 months and she was like spiraling at brunch. He stayed at her house. And she was like, I haven't heard from him since 1 and he hasn't confirmed dinner. And like, I don't really know if I'm going to see him later. He's out with his friends. And I know he's just like fucking around with his friends. I'm worried he's going to get too drunk. He's going to blow me off. And she spiraled so hard at brunch. And then I was hanging out with her and at like 5, he texted her and was like, hey, I'll meet you at the restaurant at like 6:30. And she was like elated and so excited to see him. We're like running around. We went to her place. She changed. She went to meet him for dinner. She was so excited. And I was just like, you're excited because you felt like shit all day. And suddenly somebody like allowed you to feel okay for a couple hours. Like that's not butterflies. It's just somebody treating you like shit.
Right. Yeah. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on it.
I'm not interested.
No.
Grow up.
Okay. Well, there's so many. Again, we ran through all those ones before. All men are the same. Just pick one. That is so funny. Some of them were like so funny. I will say though, if you really don't shave before a date and you don't clean your apartment and you have like hair on the shower wall, you're definitely getting laid that night.
You're 100% getting laid that night.
Like if you have a whole like spider on the shower wall of your hair and you haven't cleaned the toilet and you have a ring in the toilet,
maybe you haven't
and
flushed,
you have a bunch of
like Ashley.
Shut up. I would never not flush a poop, but sometimes she
never flushes a pee. That's actually stamp.
Well, sometimes I wash my hands and I forget. Okay. But anyway, that I swear in college, like that in my 20s, that was like, if my place was a mess, someone was coming back there.
If I left my vibrator on my bed.
Yeah, if I hadn't had a wax, everything was covered in hair.
If it's a tornado of awful, I'm getting laid.
So can't recommend that enough.
Well, thanks guys for being here for this. The last part of this episode is that we asked you guys for other parts of advice. We asked you for your sex tips that have gone wrong. So just somebody told you to do this thing. It went horribly awry. You guys sent really funny stories. So we have a couple of those. You want to kick it off?
Okay. Yes, I will start. Okay. This is cute. She writes, Hi guys. So I have a sex tip that went wrong. And funny enough, it came from this podcast. So my favorite episode of all time is Hotter Sex Starts Now, featuring Dr. Emily Morse. It's so good that I've listened to it and masturbated to it 3 or 4 times. And I've pretty much memorized every word Emily says, including at timestamp 1:13:30 when she casually says, why did he just put his tongue in my ear and not keep going? I love a tongue in the ear. I was inspired. Oh my God. So at the time this episode came out, my boyfriend and I had only been together for a few months and we were very down for experimenting and trying new stuff in the bedroom. I knew he went crazy for an earlobe nibble and taking tips from a literal sex expert. I decided to take it one step further and dive my tongue right in there. Like I went places no Q-tip should ever go. He eventually stopped me and just politely said, more around and less in. I like that he was like, okay. Only then did I realize I had been full wet willying my boyfriend while trying to turn him on. Anyway, TLDR, I wet willied my boyfriend with my tongue because you guys told me to. Love y'all. Oh my God. I wonder what Emily meant by that. I mean, some people like it.
I love ear tongue, not in the hole. Just don't penetrate the hole. You know, I like a little bit of like tonguing around the outer edge of the...
Emily maybe said that like jokingly and she took it to heart.
I would never penetrate the hole.
Some people like it though.
Ugh, when I feel something close off the ear in a wet scent, I hate it. Okay, this one just made me laugh because it's just like, again, it's probably like well-meaning, but it's like religious sex tips. So she said, I grew up in the church, which was full of so many stupid sex tips, like don't have it because you're like tape, and the more this is why I don't read, guys. Like, don't have it because you're like tape, and the more you stick to it. What is wrong with me? Ashley, just read all of them.
What? Okay, hold on. I grew up in the church, which was so full of so many stupid sex tips, like don't have it because you're like tape, and the more you stick it to things, the less sticky it gets.
Oh, so like the more you have sex you have, the less people are going to want to have sex with.
The less you're going to be able to.
It's like, no one's going to buy the cow if you're giving the milk away for free.
Do you want to finish?
Sure.
Anyways, we were getting married and went to premarital counseling with the pastor, which is required before they let you get married in the church. The last session was all about sex. Here were the tips. Oh, okay. Number 1, you're going to need a lot of towels. I'm still unsure what the towels are for. I remember packing them on our wedding night, expecting some sort of heavy bleeding or something. Wait, did she wait to have sex for the wedding night?
Know.
It sounds like that. This is so funny. So she's like waiting probably to have sex on the honeymoon. And she's like, I guess I got to pack a lot of towels.
Like the hotel wouldn't have towels. She packed towels. She brought sand to the beach.
They said to her, judging by your size, I'm 4'10". You're going to need a lot of lube. Turns to my husband. You're most likely not going to fit in her as she is very tiny.
A priest said this to her.
This is nuts.
This is so funny.
She says, as though height predicts vaginal tightness and penis size. I remember sitting there in disbelief. My pastor was visualizing my vagina. Stop. I cannot with religion. No shade, but this is fucking insane. I would walk out. Okay. The third one, pray together before your first time to thank God for sex.
That it exists.
You guys, is this what's happening in the church?
Actually, you guys, is this what's
Talk about making it a desert down there. I will not. Anyways, a little different, but thought of this immediately when I saw your post. I love this girl.
This is amazing. I love this. Like, I think that like probably a lot of people grew up in a situation like where they were shamed into not having the type of sex they wanted, or like they were told like his vagina won't fit into you because you're a midget.
Oh
this
my God.
Is wild.
Okay. The last one. My best friend gave me a long lesson on how to give a blowjob. I'm talking vibrator out, full demonstration. What a friend. I had this shit down to a science. I was soon going to be a professional just like my BFF. Fast forward a few weeks. I'm showering with this guy I'd been seeing and he asked me to suck his dick. Who is out here asking someone to suck their dick in the shower? Waterboard yourself? No. Nope.
The confidence of a white man.
I was nervous, but this was the moment I spent hours on the phone preparing for. I was ready. On the phone, were they like on a Zoom? I make my way down and quickly realize what I'm working with is not what I've been training for. It's half the size of my vibrator. Right. If you had a giant vibrator, I can barely hold it with my hand, let alone put my mouth on it too. The thing is flopping all over the place. I have hair in my face, water spraying me in the eye, and a dick in my mouth. Lesson learned, blowjobs aren't even for boyfriends. No, bitch, blowjobs are for the shower. What are we doing? What are we doing? Water torture.
What are we doing?
You can't be out here shower, dick in the mouth.
I mean,
you also need your own natural lube. Like you need your spit. Like this is a mess.
Also, like he's standing and you're on your knees. Like I've always wondered like how you get like I'm 5 feet tall. I'm probably not sucking a dick on like a full grown man on my knees.
And what is there a mat down or your knees slipping and sliding?
Right.
Like,
how do you get your knees to stay?
This is a mess.
No matter where he is, if he's under the shower water or you're under the shower water, you're getting waterboarded. Like I'm trying to think where in the shower you could be sitting and standing. Like one of you's under the water and the other one's getting the water dumped on them.
But this doesn't even it's not even what you want. You know, you want spit as the lube. You don't want water coming in. This is like a mess.
It's a mess.
But her friend, it sounds like, probably gave her really solid advice. I hope she was able to use that BJ tutorial later in a non-shower situation.
It also sounds like he had too small of a penis.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know because like half the size of her vibrator, which is understandable because vibrators and dildos can be huge. But she said I could barely hold it with my hand, let alone put my mouth on it. So this motherfucker with his teeny dick is like, suck my dick in the shower.
You can't put my mouth on it? What?
I don't know.
She was in the shower with a girl. That was a clit.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Well, thank you for submitting your sex tips gone wrong. We're running short on time, but there was one about peanut butter. Never use that as a lube.
People I don't want food in the bedroom.
But peanut butter specifically, like it's like cotton balls in your mouth. Like, don't be out here sucking peanut butter off a dick. Like, if you're going to bring food into the bedroom, just no peanut butter.
Yeah, think about peanut butter as your own mouth. Do you want to try to like wrestle that on a dick?
Chocolate syrup, if anything, or just
nothing.
Edible lube. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed.
I did.
We will see you this week. Atlanta, Charleston, Charlotte, and Raleigh. We can't wait. Still maybe some tickets left for Atlanta, Charleston, and Charlotte. So get those at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast. I am Ash Hess. Rayna is Rayna.Greenberg. Girls_Gotta Eat on Twitter and YouTube.com/Girls Gotta Eat. Get the merch, sign up for the newsletter, all the things. And we'll see you next week. But before that, we'll see you on tour.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
Bye.